Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome to a quick showcase of the Panzer Befehlswagen 6P, or in other words the Porsche King Tiger, which is Germany's Tier 4 premium heavy tank with a battle rating of 6.0. Also, the second half of the video will showcase two separate scenes of the VK4501P, which is practically the same tank but with less armor. And it is a reward vehicle at rank 3 premium 5.7 battle rating. But on the other hand, you know, those two vehicles are very similar, but they behave very differently in one aspect, and that is the maneuverability. Now let's talk about why I make a showcase of this tank. First of all, it was requested by a subscriber, and normally I do not really do subscriber requests. I have a kind of unknown plan of which kind of videos I make, and I make a lot of tank reviews. I highly doubt that I make a tank review out of this tank anyways, anytime soon. The simple reason being, this tank is bad. This tank is bad. It's not hopelessly useless bad, but in comparison to other tanks at this battle rating, the effective performance on the battlefield, my overall experience, this tank is not good. Certainly because it didn't get something like the Panzergranate. And especially when we compare it to the Tiger E, it just becomes apparent that this tank is outright bad. Why is that? Well, again, it doesn't have the Panzergranate. It just can deal with the Panzergranate 39. Yes, it has a PCR, but who uses that even on the Tiger E? Yes, in an up tier, you know, situationally. But on the other hand, this tank has nothing going for it that the Tiger E can't do better. Then there are the horrible maneuverability and mobility. You can see it right here. This tank is bad in this respect. For 60 tons flat, we have a 530 horsepower engine. The top speed is 31 kilometers an hour forwards, but 31 kilometers an hour backwards as well. But it needs ages to turn. Then we have the gun handling. We have a turret rotation speed of stock of 5.3 degrees per second. And when I do it in my slot where I have my tank crew for it with an expert crew, not an ace crew, I have 7.1 degrees per second. And for an ace crew, we have 7.5 degrees per second. And the targeting vertical speed for an ace crew is 2 degrees per second. That is just awful. That is just awful. So my tip for this premium tank, don't buy it, don't touch it. And if you have already purchased it, well, good luck. Honestly, there is not a lot of good things that I can say about this tank. Yeah, but it has a lot of armor. Yes, it does have. Although, first of all, you have 200 millimeters of frontal armor in comparison to the Tiger's E1 or the Tiger E's 100 millimeter of frontal armor. The side is kind of the same with 80 millimeters, and the turret overall is the same. But then we come to the weak spots, and we actually have more or less 3 of them. We have a massive cupola, we have a massive turret ring, and then we also have those cheeks on the hull that seem to be like cut out. That means you can't angle your armor. It doesn't seem so bad in the, you know, when you think about it in the first place, because the normal Tiger E and the H1 as well can maximize their effective armor with perfect angling to around about 140 millimeters. This tank has 200 millimeters of frontal armor. Yes, but not on the turret cheeks. There it is 140 millimeters. So you're not in a disadvantage. You're automatically perfectly effective when you face directly towards the enemy. Yes, that is true. But on the other hand, you have this big cupola, you have this big turret ring, and you have still the cheeks. And then there is the lower plate, which is not thicker than on the Tiger. That means effectively you can't angle, because if you angle, you make the 140 millimeters of effective armor worse to around about the normal thickness of around about 80 millimeters. Now, why would you angle in the first place? Well, when you come around the corner, when you actually, want to face an enemy with a big gun that you absolutely must avoid getting a shot into you, and then you want to rock forwards and backwards to deny him easy aiming. Well, you can't really do this with this tank. You can do it with the Tiger E and the Tiger H1, or the heavy tank number 6 therefore. And they have massively improved maneuverability in comparison to you. So overall, there is not much that I can, give this tank. Technically, it is worse in every respect except the armor that we talked about. So maybe this tank might be superior at long range. And when I say long range, I mean like a kilometer or 1.5 kilometers. How many maps do we know where we actually would put this tank there? Not many. Maybe Mostock, but then there is always that guy that just snipes you. That's just my experience. I want to give you good gameplay most of the time. That's true. But when a tank is bad, I don't want to lie to you and say, well, you have to do this, you have to do that. For the same money you would spend for getting this tank, you probably would be better off, investing that money in golden eagles, and then either buy a talisman or invest a little bit more and get actually the Diesel King Tiger. I think it's in a bundle if I'm not mistaken, or the Befehls Jagdpanther. And when you get a talisman, why not put it on the Tiger E or even a King Tiger? You are better off in so many ways, because this tank is just slow, it's not fun, it's not very effective in this respect. The majority of kills that I made, I guess I could have done with a Panzer IV F2 as well. So overall, again, now I'm actually out of arguments for this tank. There is not too much that I can tell you. I thought, this tank has some little gimmicks and maybe some features that I just have to find out. But throughout all the battles, in arcade and realistic alike, this tank is just simply not competitive. I mean, look at this turret rotation speed, that's just awful. And yes, I just made here an ace, but that's rather the exception. So, I think the only reason you would want to get this tank if you are a collector, but then it's a rather expensive collector's item, I have to say. And for the normal guy that just needs to have a premium tank, get something else. Literally anything else. So, and let's have a look at the post-battle result. So for a nearly 9-minute battle, I got 47,000 silver lines and 5,600 research points and modification points for 5 kills and 2 assists. And I was first with 1,549 score points. This tank is just simply not good. So now let's have a look at 2 separate battle scenes with the VK4502P. Again, this is a reward vehicle, and let's have a look at the differences. The shape and overall the armor is the same, although it misses the 100mm bolted armor plate on the front. I think the turret armor is the same, the side armor is the same, the armor layout is the same, the interior is the same. However, we have a little bit different stats for this tank when it comes to mobility, because this is a 57-ton tank, so it's 3 tons lighter. That's of course the additional armor, but it also has an engine that is 90 horsepower stronger, a 620 horsepower engine instead of a 530 horsepower engine as on the Panzerbefehlswagen 6P. And I have to ask myself, why? Just why? However, we have also very bad stats in terms of turret rotation speed, 7.2 seconds in my configuration. The rest is the same as on the Panzerbefehlswagen 6P. And also the maximum speed has increased, 35 instead of 31 kilometers an hour. And the same goes backwards, 35 kilometers an hour backwards. However, the mobility overall, it is faster, yes, but it's not as fast as a Tiger. And then, because you don't have the frontal 200mm, you rely on angling. But then, when you angle it, you offer like a weak spot with the side cheeks. So you can't practically rely on your armor, which is a shame. It is honestly a shame. Now, I'm glad that I have this tank as a collector, but this tank is literally worthless in terms of, battle performance. You're better off playing a Panther. Now, on my tank review on the STA1, I said it's a slow light tank because it has not very good armor and the mobility is also not very good. And I always can destroy enemies by catching them off guard, even if they are Hellcats. Crippled the first one, blow up the second one, now back to the first one. The commander is still dead, and that's a double kill. So the question is, with which tank could I have not done this? Not too many, to be honest. The chassis is practically the same as on the Ferdinand, but again the Ferdinand has the added bolted on armor that you see on the Panzerbefehlswagen 6P, the Porsche Tiger. The Ferdinand, however, is a completely different tank because you can go hull down because you have the 200mm of upper casement. You don't want to angle because you're a tank destroyer and you have a long 88, so you're very good at sniping. And everybody that has driven the Ferdinand knows that it is a painfully slow tank. Now here I honestly have the feeling that this is like a medium tank, armor wise, and also how you should play it. But it's not very good at it. And please don't say that this is a true heavy tank, because it isn't. Again, in comparison to this tank, the Panther, I'm sorry about this, would be a better heavy tank. And there we catch another British tank off guard, and with the next shot we aim for the turret and kill him. So this Comet was the third kill, and now I want to show you a little scene here on Abandoned Factory in terms of mobility. By the way, I have the perfect camouflage for it, I guess. Grey on Abandoned Factory kind of fits it. So, all jokes aside, the next battle scene is just a showcase of situational awareness and catching enemies off guard. And again, then I have to ask you in the same sentence, could I I have done this with another tank? Yes or no? Well, this scene is rather unique, but nothing too special at all. Again, I tried to flank the enemy, and I'm not really sure at this point what we're facing, but I will find out soon enough, I guess. So for all of you that just ask yourself, yeah, 3 battle scenes. I think we got the point. Horrible mobility. The armor is not very promising. It's rather flat. The enemy always finds a weak spot. The gun doesn't have the Panzergranate. Hull cheeks. Horrible maneuverability. Massive repair times, by the way. Turret traverse is abysmal. Big cupola. Yeah, not very good, right? Yes, indeed. And then I spotted my first customer. It is a T-34-85, and I'm not quite sure if he has seen me. So he goes straight ahead, and I prepare myself for that guy. And I wait, and I wait, and I wait. I get a little bit impatient. Maybe he has changed direction. He's not coming around there. Is that the same T-34? He has not seen me, and I blow him up. That was a crew knockout. And I reverse, I reverse, I reverse, I reverse. I look into the wrong direction because here he comes. He has not spotted me. I actually aim with the tank, and that was a very lucky shot, blowing up the engine. Normally that never happens, I swear to you. I swear to you. So it seems to be the more or the luckier tank of those two. But again, overall I missed the Panzergranate. For all of you that are not aware what I'm talking about here, the Tiger H1, the Tiger E, and also the heavy tank number 6 got with the introduction of the Japanese tanks, they got the shell that you also find on the 88mm half track or the 88mm flak as basically normal armor piercing shell, which has around about 160 grams of TNT filling, and that would have secured me, you know, many more shots. That was again a very typical T-34 85 pounds. And I probably would have killed that guy with the Panzergranate. And of course this guy got a shot into me. I was very lucky that he just knocked out 2 crew members and damaged my turret ring. And this time, to my endless surprise, it has a rather short repair time. That was kind of a blind shot. I blew something up, but it didn't give me points. So it wasn't a player, obviously. Jokes aside. Must have been a fuel tank or something. And then I actually was distracted for a moment by something that popped up on my side. Then I see this Calliope here rocketing something in A. I don't know what he's doing. And I actually save his tank by blowing up a ZSU-37 that tried to get him from the side. Sadly, another ZSU-37 hammers me in the side, and watch how I die. I thought I do have to turn the turret, and I thought I'd be dead anyway, so I didn't extinguish the fire. I ping the map, then I extinguish it, and while I extinguish it, I blow up. GG Gaijin, GG, and so many thank yous. I can't express how thankful I am. So that's it for me today, for this kind of tank showcase. The lesson is, don't buy the Porsche Tiger. Don't buy it. For that money you could get better things, and also do not really expect magic from the VK for 502. It's again a rather good looking collector's item, but nothing more. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we will see each other on the battlefields of War Thunder.